Ever catch yourself like stuck in a thought loop? You know, replaying something awkward or worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened yet?
Oh, yeah?
We're diving into overthinking today,
Oh.
exploring this YouTube video you wanted to unpack,
Okay.
all about stopping those negative thoughts.
It's something we all experience,
Yeah.
but when it becomes like chronic,
Right.
it can have a surprisingly big impact.
That's what we're digging into today.
Yeah.
Going beyond just feeling stressed to understand how overthinking affects us,
Mhm.
mentally and physically.
Yeah.
We're after those actionable takeaways, right?
Exactly.
Not just more things to worry about.
The video starts by defining overthinking.
Okay.
And it's not just about like thinking a lot.
Right.
It's more about those repetitive,
Mm-hmm.
unhelpful thought patterns
Yeah.
that leave you feeling stuck.
Like spinning your wheels but getting nowhere and feeling worse in the process.
Exactly.
So if we know what it does,
Yeah.
why does overthinking hit us so hard? The video talks about this mind-body connection,
Yeah.
which I found fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just all in our heads.
It really isn't. When we overthink,
Mhm.
our bodies react too.
Okay.
It triggers this chain reaction, starting with the release of a hormone called cortisol.
Cortisol.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
Isn't that the stress hormone?
It is.
Okay.
And while it's helpful in short bursts,
Mm-hmm.
like when we need to react quickly to danger,
Right.
chronically high levels of cortisol,
Right.
the kind we get from constant overthinking,
Yeah.
can weaken our immune system.
So those late-night worry sessions could actually make us more likely to get sick.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that.
Is a real possibility. And beyond getting sniffles more often,
Yeah.
the video specifically points out headaches,
Hmm.
muscle tension,
Okay.
sleep disruption
Right.
as common physical symptoms of this constant cortisol bath.
Making those worries suddenly seem a lot less harmless. And it's not just the short-term stuff, right?
Right.
The video mentioned long-term risks, too.
Absolutely. The research shows strong links between chronic stress
Mm-hmm.
and conditions like anxiety
Okay.
and even depression.
Wow.
So understanding why we overthink
Right.
becomes crucial.
Yeah.
It's not just about feeling bad in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's about our long-term well-being.
Okay, so we know overthinking takes a physical toll.
Right.
But why do we get stuck in these thought loops in the first place?
Ooh.
The video points to some pretty relatable culprits, like
Uh-huh.
fear of messing up and what others think of us, right?
Those are big ones.
Yeah.
It often boils down to a fear of making mistakes,
Uh-huh.
worrying about judgment from others,
Right.
or even this deep-seated desire
Yeah.
to control every aspect of our lives.
Yeah.
It makes sense in a way.
It's like we're trying to think our way into a perfect future, but
Yeah.
it just ends up making us miserable in the present. And then you throw in the social media comparison game.
Oh, yeah.
It's like pouring gasoline on the overthinking fire.
Right, that's a really apt comparison.
Right.
We're constantly bombarded with these curated versions of reality.
Yeah.
Everyone else has highlight reels.
Yes.
And it makes us question our own choices
Uh-huh.
and achievements,
Yes.
leading to even more self-doubt
Oh, yeah.
and overthinking.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves
Right.
to those perfectly filtered lives, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if there's something wrong with you when your avocado toast doesn't look like a work of art.
Exactly.
But hold on, before we spiral,
Yeah.
the video does offer solutions,
Right.
and that's what we're after. Practical steps
Yeah.
to escape those thought loops.
Right. It's not about eliminating every worry,
Right.
but learning to manage them effectively.
Okay.
And one of the first steps the video suggests
Yeah.
is surprisingly simple,
Okay.
but powerful.
I like it all right.
It's called the note trick.
Intriguing. What's that all about?
Well,
Is it like journaling?
it can be,
Okay.
but it's even simpler than that.
Okay.
Let's say you're lying awake at 3 a.m.,
Yeah.
stressing about a presentation you have to give next week.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of letting that worry consume you,
Mm-hmm.
you write it down on a notepad
Okay.
and tell yourself,
Yeah.
I'll deal with this tomorrow morning.
So you're acknowledging the thought,
Yeah,
but not letting it take over your entire night.
exactly.
Okay.
And what's interesting
Yeah.
is that the video points out how often
Mm-hmm.
those worries lose their urgency
Uh-huh.
when we actually revisit them later.
Oh, like how often it turns out it wasn't that big a deal to begin with.
Exactly.
That is kind of reassuring, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe our brains are just drama queens sometimes.
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah.
Our brains are wired to scan for threats.
Okay.
And sometimes they misinterpret harmless situations as dangerous,
Yeah.
leading to all sorts of unnecessary anxiety.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about those more persistent negative thoughts? The ones that keep coming back?
Yeah.
Even when we try to push them away.
Right. Yeah.
The video offers some strategies for those too, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the most effective and well-researched strategies is exercise. You've probably heard this before.
Yeah, probably.
But the video really dives into the WHY.
Okay, lay it on me.
All right.
Why is moving our bodies so good for our minds?
Well, on a purely physiological level, exercise helps to reduce those stress hormones we were talking about,
Okay.
like cortisol,
Right.
but it also improves blood flow to the brain,
Okay.
which can lead to clearer thinking and better emotional regulation.
So it's not just about feeling good physically.
Right.
It's about literally changing the way our brains function.
It is.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
And beyond the biological benefits, exercise can also provide a much-needed distraction from those negative thoughts,
Yeah.
giving our minds a chance to reset and refocus.
Sometimes you just need to move your body to get out of your head right.
I think that's true.
It really can.
Yeah.
And the video also talks about the benefits of talking things out.
Yeah.
Not just venting, but like actually reframing those negative thoughts.
That's the key distinction.
Okay.
Venting can sometimes make us feel worse.
Right.
But reframing helps us challenge those unhelpful thought patterns and potentially see things from a new perspective.
Right.
The video gives an example that I thought was really helpful.
Okay.
Instead of thinking, I always fail,
Right.
you reframe it as,
Yeah.
I'm learning from my mistakes and improving.
Totally.
It shifts the focus from negativity to growth.
Yeah, that totally changes the narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like taking that negative thought and flipping it on its head.
Exactly.
Right.
And sometimes we need help with that reframing process.
Yeah.
Talking to a trusted friend or therapist can provide that outside perspective we often need
Yeah.
to see things more clearly. They
Yeah.
can help us identify those distorted thought patterns and challenge those negative assumptions we might have about ourselves
Okay.
or the world.
I think there's something powerful about having someone else reflect back to us a different way of seeing things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it can be hard to break out of those negative thought loops on our own.
It can.
But what if we don't have someone to talk to right away?
Right.
Or what if it's something we don't feel comfortable sharing?
Yeah.
What else does the video suggest?
Well, there's another strategy the video mentions that I find really intriguing.
Okay.
It has to do with recognizing the role of control in overthinking.
Okay.
We often overthink because we're trying to anticipate and control every possible outcome.
It's like we think if we just worry about it enough,
Yeah.
we can somehow prevent bad things from happening or
Yeah.
guarantee everything will go perfectly.
Yeah.
But that's not really how life works, is it?
It isn't.
No.
And this relentless pursuit of control can actually backfire,
Okay.
creating more stress and anxiety in the process.
Right.
So the video suggests a bit of a mindset shift.
Okay.
Instead of trying to control everything,
Yeah.
what if we focused on what we can control?
Right, okay.
Our own thoughts, our actions,
Right.
and our responses to the inevitable challenges life throws our way.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on what we can influence
Right.
rather than stressing about all the things we can't.
Exactly.
It's a much more empowering way to approach things, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
And this ties back to the actionable solutions the video offers.
Okay.
Those strategies like the note trick,
Oh, yeah.
exercise,
Yeah.
reframing,
Yeah.
and talking things out. They're all tools that help us take back control of our thoughts
Okay.
and manage those overthinking tendencies.
So it's not about becoming some Zen master who
Right.
never worries about anything.
Right.
It's about equipping ourselves with the skills to handle those worries effectively.
Exactly.
But recognize when we're spiraling and have a plan to redirect our thoughts.
Yeah.
That feels a lot more achievable, right?
It does.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that managing overthinking is a journey,
Oh, okay.
not a destination.
Right.
It takes practice,
Uh-huh.
patience,
Yeah.
and self-compassion
Mm-hmm.
to shift those deeply ingrained thought patterns.
It's like learning any new skill.
Exactly.
We're not going to be experts overnight.
Right.
There will be times when we slip back into old habits.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's all part of the process.
Exactly.
The key is to keep practicing those strategies,
Mm-hmm.
to keep building that mental muscle,
Right.
and to be kind to ourselves along the way.
Yeah.
And the more we practice,
Yeah.
the better we'll get at recognizing those overthinking patterns
Uh-huh.
and choosing a different path.
That's where the real power lies, isn't it?
It is.
In that choice. We're not helpless victims of our own thoughts.
Right.
We have agency.
Hmm.
We can choose to interrupt those negative spirals
Yeah.
and redirect our energy towards something more productive.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to choose how we respond to those thoughts. We don't have to be prisoners to our own minds.
And this whole deep dive has been about giving us the tools to make those choices,
It has.
to break free from those overthinking tendencies
Yeah.
and create a calmer, more focused mental space.
I love that.
Which brings me to something the video mentioned that I think is worth exploring a bit further.
Okay.
They talked about how overthinking is often tied to this need for control.
It's a natural human instinct.
Right.
But as we've seen, it can backfire spectacularly.
Totally.
When we're so fixated on controlling everything, we miss out on the present moment.
Yeah.
We create unnecessary stress.
Right.
And we often make decisions based on fear rather than opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the question I want to leave with you, listener.
Okay.
What would it look like to let go of that need for control just a little? What possibilities might open up if you weren't so busy trying to micromanage every aspect of your life?
That's a profound question.
Right.
And one that deserves some serious reflection.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the most sophisticated solution is the simplest one.
I like that.
Letting go. Trusting the process.
Yeah.
And freeing up that mental energy to
Yeah.
focus on the things that truly matter.
Maybe it's about finding the courage to take that leap of faith,
Yeah.
to pursue that passion project,
Absolutely.
or to simply be more present in your everyday life.
Imagine all the creative energy.
Right.
All the joy, all the connection you could experience
Yeah.
if you weren't so bogged down by those anxious thoughts.
Right.
This deep dive has been all about giving you the tools to tame those overthinking tendencies.
It has.
And I think this final thought takes it to a whole new level.
It does.
It's about empowerment. About recognizing that you have the power to choose how you respond to those thoughts.
You don't have to be a prisoner to your own mind. You can learn to observe those thoughts,
Yeah.
acknowledge them,
Yeah.
and then let them go.
It's like loosening your grip on the reins a bit. Trusting that you don't have to control every tiny detail
Right.
to end up in a good place.
That's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's not about being reckless,
Right.
but about finding that balance between planning and overthinking.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive into overthinking,
Yeah.
I think this final thought is a perfect distillation of what it's all about.
It's about recognizing that overthinking,
Mm-hmm.
while common,
Yeah.
doesn't have to define us.
It really doesn't.
We have the power to break free,
Absolutely.
to think clearly,
Yeah.
and to live more fully.
I love that.
So listener, as you go forward, remember all the amazing strategies we've unpacked from this video.
Yeah, those are good.
The note trick
Right? So it's,
exercise.
reframing, talking it out.
All great tools.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
remember the power of choosing your response.
Absolutely. The power of choice.
Don't let those thoughts control you.
Nope.
Observe them, challenge them,
Yeah.
and then let them go.
Free yourself.
Go out there and create your own sophisticated solutions,
Yeah.
ones that work for you
Exactly.
and help you reclaim that mental space.
That's what it's all about.
It's a journey,
It is.
not a destination.
Nope.
So be kind to yourself along the way
Absolutely.
and keep practicing those strategies.
It's all about consistency.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep learning and keep diving deep.
See ya.